Funny thing about prayers, people whisper them into the dark like secrets. Begging, bargaining, promising things they'll never keep. And then they wait. Oh, how they wait. Eyes glued to the clock, hearts stitched to hope, thinking something is out there listening. And when nothing happens, they crack. They curse, they call it unfair. But what if the one you prayed for is actually on the way? Oh, the beauty of a good disruption. Everyone's always expecting their answers to show up neat and pretty. Maybe with a bow on top and a soundtrack playing in the background like some kind of fantasy. But that's the joke, isn't it? People pray, they beg, they cry out for something different, something better. And when it finally shows up, it's a mess. It's loud, inconvenient, unannounced, maybe even a little terrifying. Because life doesn't deliver miracles on your schedule. It sends storms, it sends fire. It sends explosions that tear through the walls you built to protect your comfort zone. You want the one you prayed for. Sure, but don't expect them to knock politely. Maybe they crash in through the ceiling. Maybe they show up holding a mirror instead of flowers. Because answers don't always feel like gifts. Sometimes they feel like punishment. Like chaos, like losing everything just to find what you were actually asking for. And people panic, oh they panic. They say this can't be it. This can't be what I asked for. But they forget growth doesn't come in a velvet box. It comes with teeth, the one you asked for. Maybe they don't walk in glowing. Maybe they come dragging baggage. Maybe they challenge your ego, poke your insecurities, tear open wounds you buried deep. And you'll want to run. You'll say, no, this isn't the blessing. This is a mistake. But maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what you needed. Because the universe doesn't owe you comfort. It owes you truth. And the truth rarely feels good at first. It's like pulling out a thorn that's been there so long you forgot it hurt. Painful, sure, but necessary now. People love to say they want something real. But what they actually mean is they want something easy. Something that fits into their little boxes. Something that doesn't threaten their illusions. But reality doesn't bend to fantasy. It crashes through it. And when that happens, when the very thing you prayed for shows up and doesn't look like what you imagined, you've got two choices. Adapt or run. Most people run. But the bold, the beautifully broken, they lean in because maybe the disruption is the blessing. Maybe it's not about getting what you asked for, but breaking who you were when you asked for it. Maybe it's about shaking you awake, ripping off the mask, smashing the fragile little world you built to avoid pain. Maybe it's about chaos tearing you open so love has somewhere real to land. You can't build anything lasting on lies, not even love. So the disruption doesn't destroy you, it just destroys the version of you that was never ready to receive. But, oh, the ego fights. The pride kicks and screams, why this, why now, why like this? And the silence just laughs. Because somewhere deep inside, you know this is exactly what you asked for. Just not the way you wanted it. You thought you'd be rescued. Turns out you were meant to be rewritten. You thought someone would come and complete you. Instead, they came to confront every broken part of you still pretending to be whole. And if you're lucky, if you don't run, if you stand in the storm instead of begging for shelter, something strange happens. You start to see it. The answer in the wreckage. The beauty in the disruption. The message hidden inside the madness. Because nothing forces you to grow like being handed the thing you said you were ready for and realizing you're not. Yet here it is anyway, unapologetic, unfiltered, uninvited, and entirely necessary, so don't be fooled by the packaging. Don't look for signs in the sky or some perfect script to follow. Look for the shift, the shake, the thing that throws your rhythm off and dares you to dance anyway. That's your signal. That's your divine disruption. The one that doesn't ask for permission. It just arrives loud, raw, real. And the ones who are truly ready, they don't run. They recognize the fire. They walk into it with a grin. Because deep down they always knew the answer would knock politely. It would break the door down and smile, The fantasy of praying for something and expecting it to fall neatly into your lap like a well-behaved kitten. Cute. People pray for love, success, healing, whatever flavor of salvation they've convinced themselves they deserve, and then just sit there, waiting like they're in a waiting room for miracles. But here's the twist: the universe doesn't serve champagne to those still sleeping. It serves wake-up calls, cold ones, sharp ones, ones that make your spine twitch. Because when you ask for something divine, the price tag is always the version of you that made the request see. Everyone wants to meet the one they prayed for, the one who's supposed to fill all the holes they pretend aren't bleeding. But nobody ever asks if they're the kind of person that one would want to meet. Oh no, that'd be too honest, too uncomfortable. Much easier to fantasize about destiny dropping a perfect soul into your mess rather than fixing your mess to make room for the miracle. But the joke is, the miracle's already knocking, and you're still wearing the mask of who you used to be. It's not about worthiness. No, worth is a game played by liars and cowards. It's about readiness. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are prepared for. That's the punchline. You want love, be lovable. You want loyalty, be loyal. You want someone real? Then get real with yourself. Because the person you're praying for isn't going to be fooled by your surface sparkle. They'll see your cracks. They'll read your shadows. And if they've done their own work, they'll expect you to have done yours. But most people don't want to change. They want to be chosen as they are, no edits, no effort. They want to be found in the wreckage and celebrated like they're whole. But the truth, the one you prayed for might not even recognize you yet, because the version of you that needs to meet them still hasn't been born. That version, it's the one forged in discomfort, sculpted in discipline, awakened by truth. Not this half-asleep, half-hiding, half-honest ghost still clinging to old wounds like they're trophies. So here's a little chaos for your comfort zone. Maybe your prayers are on pause, not because they weren't heard, but because you're not ready to handle the answer. Maybe the person you keep dreaming of would walk right past you right now, because you're still tangled in patterns that would destroy anything good. Still addicted to pain disguised as passion. Still confusing attention for affection. Still romanticizing dysfunction like it's some tragic poetry when really it's just poison with glitter on top. You want the one. Then become the one. Not by force, not by faking it, but by shedding every false layer that's keeping you small. Burn the masks, kill the lies, get ugly with your healing. Because when you finally meet them, and they will come, you won't be given a script. You'll be given a mirror. And everything you see in them will reflect everything you either fought to become or refused to face. That's the divine joke. You don't get to keep your old identity and receive a new destiny. And know how people fight this. They stomp their feet, scream at the sky, I'm doing everything right. But they're not, they're performing. They're dressing up wounds and calling it wisdom. They're demanding devotion from a future they haven't earned. But there's no shortcut here. The universe doesn't send blessings into broken hands. It sends tools, it sends time, it sends tests. And until you pass the one called, become who you're asking for, nothing real sticks. Nothing lasting lands. Because you're still holding space for what should have died long ago. So stop waiting. Stop whining. Stop pretending you don't know the work that needs to be done. The prayer you whispered into the dark isn't on hold. It's in process. But not out there in here, inside the blood, the bones, the brutal honesty you keep avoiding. The future you want is allergic to the lies you keep living. So either evolve or be left wondering why nothing ever changes while everything keeps burning. And when that day comes, when the knock finally comes at your door, it won't be a fantasy. It'll be reality, raw and unforgiving. And the only question that will matter then is, did you become someone who can answer it without flinching real love? Ah yes, the myth everyone swears they want. Until it actually one swears they, wearing no makeup, no filter, no patience for your nonsense. People say they're ready for it, but what they're really ready for is the idea of love. The version that plays nice, makes their heart flutter, posts cute pictures, and doesn't ask too many questions. But love, real love, oh no, that creature doesn't knock, it barges in. And it doesn't come to make you feel good, it comes to make you see what you've been hiding from. Because real love will not baby you. It will not applaud your excuses. It will not let your wounds fester under the surface while you pretend everything's fine. It will hold your gaze and ask, is this who you really are? And if that question makes your chest tighten, well, that's the point. You don't get to stay asleep when love walks in. You don't get to keep your carefully curated chaos. It strips you, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. Because the version of you that survived isn't always the version built to thrive. You think love is a soft whisper in the dark. Try a mirror shoved in your face at 3 a.m. Try someone who won't let you lie to yourself anymore. Try someone who sees your fears and doesn't flinch, someone who knows you're bleeding and still hands you the needle and thread instead of trying to fix you. It's not cute. It's not tidy, but it's honest. And honesty is what burns, not the kind that screams, but the kind that stares into you and says, I see everything. Know what? People don't want that kind of love. They want a cheerleader, not a challenger. They want someone to say you're perfect just as you are, even if who they are is broken and bitter and blaming everyone else. They want comfort, not correction. But love, real love, it doesn't care about your comfort. It cares about your growth. It will celebrate your wins, sure, but it will also drag you through every shadow you shadow. It will whisper, let's go there, and if you're not ready, it'll wait. But not forever, and if you're lucky, if you're lucky. If you're brave, you don't slam the door shut the moment someone calls you out. Instead of complimenting your mask, something wild happens. You become real. Slowly, painfully, gloriously. Real. Because love will keep poking at the parts you locked away. It will ask you why you're still angry, why you're still scared, why you sabotage every good thing that comes your way. And you'll want to yell, to run, to throw things maybe, but deep down you'll know it's right. Because nothing else ever asks you to wake up like this. Does people love the idea of someone who gets them, until that someone starts unraveling the lies. Until they say, I see the damage, but I'm not afraid of it. For you, that's when the games end. That's when the performances collapse. Because now you're naked, emotionally bleeding. No script, no spotlight. Just truth. And truth, my dear, is never gentle. It's necessary. So when someone loves you enough to bring that level of realness into your world, don't call it drama. Call it the thing you've been pretending you were ready for, and don't mistake their intensity for aggression. They're not trying to break you. They're trying to reach the part of you that remembers how to feel without flinching. The part that used to believe in magic before life kicked it out of you. They want to meet that version of you, the one that still thinks love is possible, even if it hurts. Especially if it hurts. Because love is not the absence of pain. It's the presence of something worth feeling the pain for. So, when the one you prayed for arrives and starts turning over the stones you buried your truth beneath, don't panic. Don't push them away. Don't tell them to stop just because it's uncomfortable. Let them look. Let them speak. Let them hold your mess in their hands and say, I'm not leaving. Because that's the thing people never prepare for. That love might not always feel good, but it always feels real. And real is what you were actually asking for when you said that prayer in the dark, hoping someone somewhere could love you past your pain. They all think they know what timing means, don't they? As if life runs on their little schedules and plans. They look at their clocks, their calendars, their apps that beep and buzz and tell them what's next, like timing can be managed the same way they manage their breakfast orders. But what they never see coming is how the most important things arrive without warning. No invitation. No heads up. Just bam, everything shifts. And suddenly you're not the one pulling the strings. Suddenly you're the puppet, and something else has grabbed the control C. Everyone says right time, right person, like it's a formula. Like love, fate, destiny, all those fancy words are obedient little pets that come uncalled. But they're not. They're wild, unpredictable beasts that stalk you quietly, and when they finally pounce, you either let them devour what doesn't serve you anymore, or you run screaming and blame the timing. You weren't ready, you say. You needed more time, you say. But the truth is you wanted control. And life doesn't make deals with control freaks. It only dances with the ones who let go. You prayed for someone. You whispered into your pillow at night, "Send me the one." But you forgot to mention when, didn't you? You just assumed it happened when your hair looked good, when your trauma was nicely folded and hidden in the closets, when your world was stable enough to welcome a guest. But the joke, the one shows up in the middle of the storm. Not because they're here to save you, but because they're part of the lightning. They're not here to fix the chaos, they are the chaos. The kind that reveals, not repairs. The kind that burns so bright, it leaves nothing in shadow. And oh, how you'll doubt it. You'll question the suddenness, the randomness. You'll say, this can't be it, not now, not like this. Because it didn't arrive wrapped in soft music and good timing. It came crashing through your door while your walls were down, while your plans were unraveling, while you were still bleeding from battles you swore you'd already won. But that's when the real ones come, when you're raw, when you're cracked open, when all the masks you wore to protect yourself have finally shattered into something honest. Timing isn't about comfort. It's about readiness, not the kind of readiness that comes from strategy, but the kind that comes from surrender. You'll never feel ready for the people who truly shift your soul. That's the point. They don't come to fit neatly into your script. They come to set fire to it, to rewrite everything, to remind you that destiny doesn't wait for your permission. It only checks if your heart's still beating, so when they show up out of the blue, out of nowhere, out of the wreckage you called your life, you'll think it's a distraction or worse, a mistake. You'll try to push them away with logic, with fear, with all the clever walls you built while waiting for a love that wouldn't scare you. But the truth is, if it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. If it doesn't shake your foundation, it's not real enough. Because the right ones don't knock quietly. They break the door down and dare you to step through. And that's when the test begins. Not the test of them, oh no, don't flatter yourself. The test of you. Will you cling to your timeline, your checklist, your illusion of control? Or will you leap? Will you trust that maybe the universe knows more about timing than you ever did? That maybe you didn't miss it, maybe it waited for you to stop pretending you were in charge. But what do most people do? They run. Not away from the person, but away from the version of themselves they'd have to become to receive that kind of love. A version without excuses, without delay, without all the reasons they built to stay small. So they call it bad timing, and they leave, not realizing they weren't waiting for the right moment. The right moment was waiting for them to wake up, and maybe, just maybe, that's the cruelest joke of all. That everything you wanted arrived right on time, you were just too afraid to answer the door. They think they know what love looks like, neat, clean, gentle, with a little bow on top. Oh, how beautifully naive. As if the kind of love worth praying for comes dressed in politeness and perfection. No, the one you've been begging for. That kind of love doesn't arrive with flowers. It shows up with dirt under its nails, a wild look in its eye, and a wire in its chest that burns straight through your safe little world. People want love that doesn't ask too many questions. They want someone who'll adore them without peeling back the layers. Someone who'll kiss their forehead without noticing the scars underneath. But the love you prayed for, the one you whispered for when nobody was listening, isn't blind. It's dangerous. It sees everything. Every crack, every lie, every broken belief you built your identity on. And it doesn't flinch. It steps closer. Because it's not here to make you feel comfortable. It's here to pull you out of hiding. See, love like that. It doesn't soothe you with sweet nothings. It slices through your armor and says, let me in, or stay lonely pretending you're whole. That's not a hug. That's a challenge. You think you're ready for love, but most people just want validation. They want someone to say you're fine the way you are, but you're not, you're hurt. You're guarded. You're defensive. And real love, it's got no patience for your mask. It won't whisper lies just to keep you from crying. It'll hand you a mirror and ask why you keep hiding your soul behind a smile. And when it comes, oh, it'll be all wrong. Too soon. Too loud. Too deep. It'll look nothing like the movies. It'll say things that shake your pride. It'll laugh at your rehearsed answers. It'll make you feel things you locked away years ago. You'll say it's too intense, too unpredictable, too much. But what you really mean is it's too real. And real is the thing you've been running from while pretending to be ready. Love like that doesn't knock politely. It kicks down the door in the middle of the night and says, you, me now. No script, no rehearsal. Just raw, unfiltered truth. And it'll test you. Not with games, but with honesty. Brutal, beautiful honesty. It'll ask if you're ready to bleed, not because it wants to hurt you, but because it wants to see if you're alive. Are you awake? Are you still pretending you're okay, or are you finally ready to fall apart in someone's arms and not apologize for it? The one you prayed for doesn't come to admire the version of you that survived. They come for the version that dreams, that dares, that believes despite everything. And if that part of you's been buried, well, they'll dig. Not gently, but relentlessly. Because they didn't come for who you've become. They came for who you're meant to be. And pulling that version out of the wreckage, that's not love, that's war. And only the brave survive it, but here's the twist. You asked for this with every tear, every silent wish. Every lonely night you summoned this chaos. You called in someone who wouldn't buy your excuses. Someone who wouldn't let you shrink. Someone who'd love you so fully, so ferociously, you'd have no choice but to rise or run. You wanted it, didn't you? Not the pretty version, the real one. The love that doesn't ask who you used to be, but demands to know who you're willing to become. And now it's here. Inconvenient. Uncontrollable. Unmistakable. You can't cage it. You can't tame it. You can only choose open the door or keep pretending you never heard the knock. That's the thing about answered.